Hello Mindsetters, welcome to today's Maths Literacy Show, proudly brought to you by Macmillan. I'm Katleho. Today, we have a special revision lesson on measurement and time. We have selected highlights from lessons shown earlier on in the term just to help you guys revise all the work we've done in the first term. You can download the notes for today's show from learnextra.co.za/live. Guys, also please post all your comments and questions on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/learnextra, or on Twitter, which is @learnextra, so that we can help you guys with all your revisions. Let's get on with today's lesson.
Let's do some questions. So what I have now is I have questions from Solutions for All, Maths Lit, the grade 10. This is actually topic 7, okay? And the page was 200 and something. So let's do this. We're going to convert the following. So 1,5 grams to milligrams. So the question again was, how many milligrams in a gram? So do we remember this, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
So how many milligrams?
10,000
milligrams in a gram.
milligrams.
Milligrams to grams. Okay.
Yeah.
So 1,000 milligrams to grams. So now I want to convert grams to milligrams. So I'm going kind of from A, that was 1. I'm going to a bigger number. I'm going from 1 to 1,000, so I'm going to be multiplying.
Yes.
So 1,5, and then use your calculators because we've got them. So we've got 1,5 and times by 1,000. So I get 1,500 milligrams.
Easy.
Very easy. 1,500. And don't forget your units, because that's 1,500. Like I say to my kids, not Smarties, 1,500 milligrams. Right. Let's do 385 millimeters to centimeters. This is the one where we've got our trick. So we know we've got 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. And we are going from millimeters to centimeters, so we are going to divide. And divide by 10, I don't really think I need a calculator for that. It's 38,5 centimeters. Meters to kilometers. So every time, if you just write out what you know, it makes it so much easier. But I probably would have done that whole list that I did a few slides back. And let's see, we've got 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. And we go from meters to kilometers, so I need to divide. So I'm going to divide this by 1,000, and I get 8,5. Milliliters to liters. So for each one of these, all I'm doing is saying, well, I've got 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter, and therefore I'm going, milliliters, left out the L, and I'm going to divide. I get 0,95. Now in this case, you don't need the second 0. After that, we can actually delete that, because the 0 after the decimal doesn't mean anything. So we can delete that, but we need to add in our liters. Let's make that in liters. Right, 765 grams to kilograms, again 1,000, so we're going to be dividing, and it's 0,765. Keep all the decimal places. I know that the exams tell you that you need to round to 2 decimal places, but if they're asking you specifically to convert a value like this, and you end up with 3 decimal places, don't ignore them. Rather write it in. And if you do really want to round off, because you really think, no, something wrong, I need to round off, it doesn't feel right, then write that number in. And then just tell us, well, that is almost equal to 0,77 kilograms. Because if your teacher is looking for specifics, then they can actually give you the mark there and ignore the balance. And if they're looking for rounded off, well, then you've got it. And finally, centimeters to millimeters is bigger, and it's 10 bigger, so it's 250 millimeters. So this is now a grade 10, topic 14, and question 4. An athletics arena is made up of a rectangular middle and 2 semicircles at each end. And then they give you the diagram. Now it's really important to be able to interpret a diagram. So there's my rectangular middle. So there's a rectangle. Okay. And then 2 semicircle outside. So these are semicircles. Okay. So let's delete this so we can actually see the numbers that we've got here. But it's important to understand. And then they show you the picture of what it actually looks like. So that's great. Now let's see what kind of questions they ask. Calculate the circumference of one semicircle end of the track. So we're going to look at our track, and we're going to see that my radius, they've given me the radius. My radius here was 36,4 meters. They want to know what the circumference of one semicircle, so that is what I'm looking for. So let's circumference, and our formula for that, the circumference is 2 pi r. And I'm going to use 3,14 because in most of our exams, we actually say, should be the other way around, pi equals 3,54. Most of our exams tell us to use that. We have got a pi calculator on our pi button on our calculator, but the grade 10s and 11s, remember, you guys only need the 4-function calculator. So especially in your exams, they are going to tell you to use pi equals 3,14. So it's important that we get used to what's going to happen in future. So we've got 2 times pi times the radius. What did I say that radius was? 36,4. And then we get our calculator out, and we've got 2 times pi times the radius. And check as you're entering things, it's 228,592. I haven't rounded it off. I just want to check that that was the right number, 228,592. I haven't rounded it off because I have to think about this for a moment. Have I got the right answer? So this would be meters. This would be meters. I'm going to go back and reread the question because I think I've missed something out. It says calculate the circumference of one semicircle. Now what I've done with this formula is I have created a full circle. I've calculated the circumference of a full circle. So I need to take that and divide by 2 to get 1. So let's go back to our calculator. I've got that number. Let me divide by 2, and I get an answer of 114,30. Now I'm going to round off. Always round off in the last step, 114,30. So round off at the very last step. And in fact, you don't need that 0. So we can actually delete the 0 because it's meters. And that answer, what color was I using, is meters. All right, let's move on to the next question. Use your answer in A to calculate the perimeter of the arena. So now I want the entire arena. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in that answer that I had here. That was that semicircle. And in actual fact, it was that semicircle as well. So, and I like to color in what I have, what I've calculated. So those two have been calculated. Now remember I said to you the perimeter is the outline. So I'm literally going to start walking here and go all the way around. So I've got the yellow. What I'm missing is that part and that part. So I'm going to do it on the side here because it's actually easier to see it. So I need 114,3 plus, so I've got that, plus 85, plus another 114,3, and plus another 85. Now you can multiply by 2 if you need to, or you can literally just add those exactly the way they are. So let's see what we had. We had 114,3 plus 85 plus 114,3 plus, careful as you're entering, left out a 1, and finally plus 85. And my perimeter is 398,6. So that equals to 398,6. And remember that was meters, so close to 400 meters. Have we answered? It says, Have we answered the question? I'd like to reread the question. Use your answer to calculate the perimeter. We've got that. Right. If the track is 9,8 meters wide, what is the radius of the semicircle inside the track? So the track is this part here. Now I've just worked out, and I think I need to change that color, so I don't think you can see that very clearly. So the track is that part. We've worked out the perimeter, and we know that our radius was, so our radius was 36,4. Now I want to take off the track, which is 9,8 meters wide. So what is the radius inside track? Will be my 36,4 is 36,4. My 36,4 minus 9,8. I hope that makes sense, that we're actually minusing the track from it. And that gives me my radius. My calculator, 36,4 minus 9,8. It's 26,6. So remember when you have like frames, they often do it with frames, where you have to like minus the one number from another, or paths around something. In this case, we got the track. So that's perfect. So let's see. This question comes out of, again, the grade 10, topic 14. I need to give you the page numbers. The supermarket assistant has to pack tins like the one shown onto a shelf. The dimensions of the shelf are 0,5 meters by 1,5 meters. And this is our tin. So our tin has a radius of 4,3 centimeters, and it has a height of 12 centimeters. First question is, what is the diameter of the base of one tin? So quite easily, we'd already discussed what the diameter and the radius were. So we know that the diameter is equal to 2 radii, and I know my radius is 4,3. So to get my diameter, I times by 2, and that makes it a diameter. Calculator, 4,3 times 2. And we get an answer of 8,6. And don't forget your units. So it's 8,6, and that was centimeters. So they said if the length of the shelf is 1,5 meters, how many tins would fit along the length of the shelf? Now basically we have this shelf now, and this is 1,5 meters. I like to draw pictures. I really like to draw pictures. So for and I want to know how many tins can I fit in here? So how many kind of like circles can I fit in? So what am I going to do? I'm going to take this 1,5 meters, and I'm going to divide it by my diameter of my tin, because the diameter is the whole tin, and my diameter of my tin was 8,6. Now that 8,6 was in centimeters. And this is a huge problem. I cannot divide meters and centimeters. So I have to fix this up. So this is where I go, whoa, there's a problem here. So I'm going to convert to centimeters. So I'm going to make 1,5 meters is, there are 100 centimeters, so we times by 100, so 100 centimeters a meter, and we get 150 centimeters. And now we're going to divide by 8,6 centimeters. And now these are both in centimeters, and everything's happy. So on my calculator, I say 150 divided by 8,6, and I get an answer of 17,44. And this is a really important concept. So I've got 17,44. Now, when it comes to rounding something like this, I can only fit 17 tins in, because that 0.44, I cannot fit another tin in. So I have to make this 17 tins. There really is no place for that like 0.44 of a tin. And I cannot round up to 18 because that last tin's going to fall off the shelf.
Okay guys, I hope you're really enjoying this revision session. If you are struggling and need help, remember to post on the page or send an email to helpdesk@learnextra.co.za. Now it's time for a break, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back guys. I hope you are getting into the idea of revision. Please let us know how you are doing. I'd love to chat to you guys either on the page or on Twitter. Enough of the chat. Let's get back to our revision now.
So question 3 now, we've got also from the grade 11 textbook, and topic 8 now, page 227, and question 3. So we've got a tin of coffee, and it has the following dimensions. The radius is 5,1 centimeters, we can see that there, and the height is 16,2 centimeters, and we can see it in our picture. So we've got our coffee tin, we've got our 2 dimensions. It says calculate the capacity of the coffee tin. And the reason I added this question was that it's important to know that capacity means the volume. So we are looking for the volume in this case. It is a cylinder, so my formula, and they will give you the formula. So the formula is your pi r squared h. And I'm going to use pi equals to 3,14. I did that earlier, and I didn't quite explain why. Most of your exam questions come out with use pi is 3,14. And especially for you grade 10 and grade 11ers, you do not have to have a scientific calculator. So you don't have this pi button on your calculator. Well, you don't have to. So this little pi button that I've got on the calculator, which if I press equals will tell me it's 3,14159, we don't have to use it. So we do have to use the simplification of that. So we use pi equals 3,14. So go back to my calculation. Now, once I've got my formula, it's easy for me to actually substitute in the number. I know what pi is. I know what my radius was. I must just find it. It was 5,1. 5,1 squared. And if you don't have a scientific calculator, then it's 5,1 times 5,1. And times that by my height, which was 16,2. And my answer is going to be in centimeters. So let's get my calculator out. So it was 3,14 times 5,1 squared times by 16.2. And I get an answer of 1323,076. Now I want to talk about this rounding of this number. So 13, let's write it out exactly. 1323, now I can't remember it, 1323,07668. 07668. Okay, so I want to talk about the rounding of this. This would be centimeters cubed. When we round in this case, we've got to be very careful. My instinct is to round up, because whenever I want to go to 2 decimal places, and that, if I underline, let's do a different color. If I underline my second decimal, look at the number after it, I need to really, in theory, round to 0,8. Problem is that that's not going to fit into my coffee tin. I've got a very finite space. So whenever I'm working out the capacity of something, the volume of something, I actually need to round down. So in this case, I'm actually going to make it 1323 centimeters cubed. If you want to make it 0.07, that would also be fine. So be careful with things like that. And it's always better if you don't know. Write out the number, then maybe you could even do the rounding and then like another rounding to show that you've rounded down, just so that your teacher can follow your train of thought. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the question. The next part of the question says, now the tin is 3/4 full. How much coffee is in the tin? So now I have my volume of the tin, which was my 1323 centimeters cubed. But I only have 3/4 of the tin full. So we're going to take that answer times by 3/4. You can use a fraction. You can use 0,75. You can times by 3, divide by 4. Okay? And we get an answer of 992.25. 992.25. And don't forget, that was centimeters cubed. Okay, let's move on now to some metric questions. Right, this particular question was adapted from the DBE Feb-March 2012 paper. It's a paper 2, question 5. The sandwiches are made from 2 square slices of bread with a filling in between them. Each side of the sandwich is 110 millimeters long, and it is 30 millimeters thick. And then they've actually shown us a diagram of the sandwich. So we can see that we've got 110 millimeters long, and it's a square piece of bread, and 30 millimeters is your thickness. Each square sandwich is cut diagonally to form two triangular pieces, which are stacked next to each other. So that's important. They are then packed into a box shaped like a triangular prism, as shown below. So we can see that our sandwich, and this looks like a delicious sandwich, making me kind of hungry. What about you guys?
I think that's a great sandwich.
So, right, we've got our height and our base is 110 millimeters, and the thickness is now 60 because we've got these two sandwiches stacked next to each other. And then finally, it shows us what the diagram looks like with the packaging. The dimensions of the box are 5% greater than the dimensions of the sandwich. A rectangular sticker of the Tasty Sandwich Company logo is pasted onto that diagonal side of the sandwich box. So you can see where that sticker is. Let's see what the question says. Determine the diagonal length, rounded off to the nearest centimeter of the sandwich. So we're going to work out the diagonal length of the sandwich. And it gives you a formula to use, which is the diameter, because D is the length of the diagonal, and S is the side, is the square root to the square rooted times the side. So we're going to use this formula, and then I'm actually going to show you how they derived the formula. So my diagonal is what I'm looking for. I want root 2 times the side, which was 110 centimeters. So it's as simple as that. I'm using the formula they're giving me, and that is the root 2 times, and just make sure that when you press your times, it's not carrying on under your root side. But before I do that, just occurred to me that they wanted the answer in centimeters. And what was 110? 110 was in millimeters. So we need to convert this first. So 110 millimeters, and we divide by 10, gives us 11 centimeters. So rather than doing that, I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to times by, let's go back to my green pen, times by 11. So on my calculator, times by 11, and I get the answer of 15,56. 15,56 centimeters. Now, what I want to do is I just want to go through where that formula came from, because one thing that I haven't done in our volume and area is Pythagoras. So let's try to get a nice triangle. See if I can get a nice triangle. No, that's not going to actually work. Never mind. Okay, let's get a triangle. Right. Our Pythag is when we've got a right angle triangle. And we always say that my side squared are equal to the hypotenuse squared. So in this case, it's x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Now, in our sandwich, we had those sides. So we actually had this was 11 centimeters, and that was 11 centimeters. And we were looking for the radius. So what we had was, we actually had 11 squared plus 11 squared, but I want to do it with numbers rather than the 11. I want to do the side. That's where, let's do this. It was side squared plus side squared equals to r squared. And if I've got two sides that are the same, I have to make that 2 sides squared equals to r squared, and now I square root it. And that's where our formula came in, was that we had the square root of 2 times the side. So either way, we would get the answer. So I hope that you can follow that kind of logic, but Pythagoras, remember, they're going to give you the formula. So use the formula as it is, and we got our answer. So it was 15,56 centimeters. Then the next part of the question said, right, the ratio of the length of the sticker to the length of the diagonal side of the box is 2 to 3. Calculate the length of the sticker. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to work out the diagonal side of the box. because the diagonal side of the box, our sandwich was 15,56. Our sandwich was 15,56 centimeters. Oops, left out my centimeters. And we read somewhere that the box was 5% more than that. So we need to increase this by 5%. So I'm going to times it by 105%. So 15,56 times by 105% to get my answer of 16,34. Let's round it, 16,34. So that is now the diagonal side of the box. Now it tells me that my sticker to my box was 2 to 3. And I'm looking at the length of the diagonal side of the box and the sticker. So that's my sticker, that's my box. So then I'm going to fill in my numbers. That is 16,34. And this is what we're looking for, my question mark there. And now it's clearly just a ratio. So when we do a ratio, remember, we work out what do we do from 3 to get 16,34. We times by the second number over the first, and we do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to rewrite that. So I've got 2 times by 16,34 over 3. And let's do that on the calculator. 2 times 16,34 divided by 3. And I get an answer of 10,89. Now, I'm expecting an answer that is smaller than the box. I'm expecting an answer that's smaller than the box. So because I've got an answer that's smaller than a box, I think to myself, well, I've probably got that right. So these are the kind of checks that you guys should be used to doing regularly. Make sense of the answer. Does it make sense? So if I would have got an answer of like 20 centimeters, I thought, well, hold on a second. It does not even fit onto the box. So be careful of those kind of things and make sense of the answer. Let's see what our next part of our question is. Right. The boxed sandwiches need to be packed into a rectangular carton that is 94.6 centimeters long. I don't know if you can see that there. 58 centimeters wide, that's that number there, and 36 centimeters high. So we're going to be packing the sandwiches. The sandwiches will be packed upright as indicated in the sketch below. So what we're doing is we're taking the sandwich and we're packing. I'm going to try to redraw this. Maybe if we redraw it, it'll be a bit better. Right. We are packing the sandwiches, one sandwich there, and then one kind of upside down. So we've got 2 sandwiches sitting in that space. Determine the maximum number of boxed sandwiches that can be packed into one carton and clearly show all your workings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw my sandwich. So I have a sandwich, right, that is actually 3-dimensional. Right. This side of the sandwich was 11 centimeters, and that side was 11 centimeters. And I'm going to be putting a second one, but my height here was 60 millimeters or 6 centimeters. I've just converted it for you. I need to now work out the box, and each one of these needs to be 5% more. So I'm going to take my 11 and times by 105%. Okay. So 11 times 105%, and I get 11.55 centimeters. So that's my length. And my breadth is the same, and then finally my 6 centimeters times by 105%. Let's see what that is. 6 times by 105%, and I get 6.3 centimeters. Now I take my box, and in the bottom of the box, which was 94.6 centimeters long. So I'm going to change colors. So 94, let's do it this way. Right, this was 94.6 centimeters, which is nearly a meter. How many of these 11s can I fit in? Well, the 11.55. So I'm going to divide this into however many 11.55 I've got. So I'm going to take my 94.6 and divide by 11.55. So I've got my 94.6 divided by 11.55 and see how many boxes. Now I've got 8,19 boxes. Can't put a comma 19, so I'm going to go with 8 boxes. So I can fit 8 boxes in this way. And now I'm going to redraw. So I'm going to actually use a different color and say, no, different color. That wasn't a different color. Okay. I can fit 8 boxes in that way. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the height of the 58 centimeters and the same thing for the breadth. And what I'm going to end up with is I'm going to end up with 3 values, and then I can multiply those out and get how many sandwiches I need in the box.
Now it's time for a break, so don't go away and we'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. Please remember that this month is Library Month. We really think that reading is important and can be a whole lot of fun too. So remember to join in the chat on the page and tell us about the books you love. Look out for our book competitions too during Easter revision. We are going to have a whole lot of fun. But for now, let's get back to revision. Over to you.
So, this question 1, comes from the Macmillan book, grade 10, chapter 7, page 122, and it's question number 2. A group of 3 hikers set off on a 3-kilometer hike. They left at 6:30 in the morning. Some walked faster than others. The first hiker reached the end at 7:45. The second hiker finished at 7:57, and the last hiker arrived at 8:12. So the question now is, how much time did the first hiker take to complete the hike? So we write out what we know. Let's change our color. I feel like changing color. Right, he left at 6:30 in the morning. And he arrived at, the first one arrived at 7:45. So I want to know the amount of time that has passed. So what we do in this case is we take 7:45 and we minus 6:30. Now, I tell my kids, you can do this on your hands, you can do this on your fingers, it's kind of 6:30 to 7:30 is 1 hour, and then I need another 15 minutes. So we could have done it that way. We can set it out like this and say minus the 2, so 5 minus 0, 4 minus 3, and 7 minus 6. So there are a number of different ways you can do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it on your calculator. So on the calculator, this needs to be done on the scientific calculator. There is a little button, I call it the time button, and I think it's degrees seconds. So it's this button in the middle. And I'm not sure if you can see that, so let me draw the button. Let me get back to here, and let's see what the button's kind of got a circle and a comma, let's try that again, and 2 commas. That's what the button looks like. So on my calculator, what I do is I take 7 hours and then you end up with a little square. 45 minutes, and now I'm going to minus my 6 hours, 30 minutes. And I get an answer of 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 0 seconds. So to read it, you've got your 1 with a circle, that's 1 hour, 15 minutes is with 1 colon and a comma, and 0 with 2 commas. So that means 1:15. And I check it and it is correct. So let's move on to the next part of the question. The next question says, how much time did the second hiker take? Well, the second hiker ended up 7:57. So he left at 6:30 and he went to 7:57. So what I can do here is I can do a number of things. I can do the calculation again, or I could take my first haka and maybe add the difference. Right, let's try this 757 and 630. Right, and need a little bit more space here, and let's minus it here. So we've got 7, 2, 1. So he took 1 hour and 27 minutes. I think I've got time to do this thing. How long did the slowest haka take? Well, he left at 6:30, and he arrived at 8:12. Now I'm going to show you how we would do this without the calculator, and then I'm going to check on the calculator. So in this case, I'm taking 8:12 and minus 6:30. But what I want you to remember is there are 60 minutes in an hour. So we are not dealing with this like we would normally deal with minusing and going to 10. Let me explain. 2 minus 0 is 2. Now the 1 minus 3, I can't minus that. Now normally I would borrow from there, make that a 7, and I would borrow a 1. I borrow 10. But I'm not borrowing 10. I'm actually borrowing 60 minutes. So this becomes, the 1 disappears, and this becomes a 7. I'm borrowing 60 minutes, not the 10. So that becomes 4, and I've got 1. Oops, let's just delete that and write it again. So 1 hour 42. Now let me show you how easy it is on the calculator, and then I think we can take a bit of a break. So I've got 8 hours and 12 minutes minus 6 hours 30 minutes. Don't forget to press that every time. It's 1 hour 42. Got to press that button every time, otherwise you're going to get a syntax error. Now the question is, what was the average time taken by the hikers to complete the hike? So when we work on average, we need to add them all up and divide by the 3 hikers. And it's so important how everything in maths kind of intermingles itself. So we're busy with time, and all of a sudden we get an average question. So we had, our first hiker was 115, our second was 127, and our third was 142. So we're going to add those all up. Now I can use that time button on my calculator. So let's try that time button on the calculator. So what I've got is 1 hour, 15 minutes. Don't forget to press the button every time you have to enter a new unit. Plus, no, we're going to plus this, plus 1 hour and 27 minutes, plus 1 hour and 42 minutes. And then I get my answer of 4 hours and 24 minutes. So let's write that in. We've got 4 hours and 24 minutes. Now I'm going to take that 4 hours and 24 minutes and divide it by 3. Now my calculator again can do this perfectly. So let's take that number that we've already got in there, just divide by 3, and I get an answer of 1 hour 28. So 1 hour 28. Having a problem writing today. 1 hour 28 minutes. So that was the average. Now let's assume you didn't have this calculator and you don't have that time button. So how would we actually work out this average? Well, we can add these all up and get to 4 hours 24 and just divide by 3. But alternatively, we can see that they're all 1 hour. So I really only need an average of the minutes. So I could have said, well, okay, 15 plus, let's do 15 plus 27 plus 42, just the minutes, and add those up on the calculator. So I would have got 15 plus 27 plus 42, get an answer of 84 minutes. Now I know that's more than an hour, but I'm going to leave it as 84 because I want to divide it by 3 and see that it was 28 minutes. So in that case, quite clearly I can see, let's divide that by 3, equals 28 minutes. And then I need to add it to my original 1 hour and 28 minutes. Okay, so just if you work logically, then you can kind of get the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Right, question 2 comes out of solutions for all, the grade 11 now, topic 2, page 43, questions 5 and 7. how many hours and minutes are there between 6:22 and 1:40? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it out like I did before. 13:40, I'm going to minus 6:22. And in this case, I can just actually minus it. So 0 minus there. Now I can't take 0 minus 2, so I borrow from there. And this I am borrowing a 10 because there are more than 10 minutes. So that's 10 minus 8 is, sorry, 10 minus 2 is 8. That's 1. And 13 minus 6 is 7. On the calculator, which would be a whole lot easier, I would say 13 hours, 40 minutes minus 6 hours, 22 minutes. And I get an answer of 7:18. That's perfect. Let's do the next one. Let's change our color pen. Let's go to a nice yellow color. Again, we go 20:03 to 11:45. So again, let's try it without the calculator. With the calculator would be easier. Now, if you'd like, you can actually say, well, from 11:45 to 12:45 to 1:45, and you can literally use your fingers. And then we've got another 15 minutes to take me to, get to 7:45, 15 minutes to get me there to 8 o'clock, and another 3 minutes. So you can do it that way. We do it this way. Let's see, we're going to cancel that for a moment. There's 8. Had to borrow from there, but I actually need to borrow from my 20s. This becomes 19, and this becomes 60. So there's my 60, but I borrowed from the 6 that became a 5. So I've got 18 minutes, and should be, no, 9 minus 1 is 8. And I need to do this on the calculator. So again on the calculator, 20 hours, 3 minutes, minus 11 hours, 45 minutes. And I see that it's 8 hours and 18 minutes. Now the next one's quite interesting. Let me show you the next one. From 3:15 p.m., okay, it's disappeared on us on the next page. Right, let's try that one again. Maybe I need a pen. From 3:15 p.m. to 11:10 a.m. the following day. Now I need to break up this calculation into 2 parts. I need to work out how much is it from 3:15 p.m. to midnight. So in this case, I'm going to say I've got 3:15 to 2400, and 3:15, I'm going to change that to a digital clock because this is PM. So I'm going to actually delete that 3 and make it digital, which is 15:15. And then I'm going to say, well, okay, from midnight, how much is that to 11:10? So this is easy. I know that that's 11:10. So what I want to know is how much time passes here. So let's use our calculator in this case. So we got 24 hours, 0 minutes, minus 3:15, and we get an answer of 8:45. So it's 8 hours and 45 there. And now we're going to add this 11:10. So on my calculator, I can now take that number and say plus 11 hours, 10 minutes. I mean, 19 hours, 55. And 19 hours, 55 minutes. Does it make sense? It kind of does, okay? Because I've gone from sometime early in the afternoon to late the following morning. And there's 24 hours in a day. So the fact that I've got nearly 20 hours makes sense. So always make sense of your answer. Right, let's move on to the next question. So in this case, what we have is we have Sibusiso and Thabo go for a run. Sibusiso finishes first. His stopwatch shows 1:52:27. Now if he's going for a run, it could be 1 hour, 52 minutes, 27 seconds. It could be 1 minute, 52.27, but we're going to go with 1 hour, 52:27. When Thabo finishes, the stopwatch shows 2:07:11. How much longer did he take than Sibusiso? What are we going to do? We're going to minus the one from the other. So on our calculators, we can type this in as 2:07:11 minus our 1, 52.27. This button on the calculator is really wonderful, but what I really suggest, guys, is practice with it. Practice, do a whole lot of calculations just to make sure you understand it. So we've got 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 11 seconds minus 1 hour, 52 minutes and 27 seconds, and we get an answer of 14 minutes, 44 seconds. 14 minutes and 44 seconds. Just want to check that I got that right, 14:44. So practice with the calculator is really, really important.
Guys, we've come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much to Macmillan for making this wonderful show possible. And thank you to you guys for joining me and participating fully in today's revision lesson. Remember to visit our website, guys, for all your notes, all the videos that you need to watch from earlier on in the term. Our website is learnextra.co.za/live. Guys, if you're stuck or you need to ask any questions, please send an email to helpdesk@learnextra.co.za and let us know exactly where you're stuck so that we can help you even more. Don't forget to look out for more news on Library Month on our Facebook page as well as on our website. And guys, remember to join us for Easter Revision too. Bye guys.